My name is Yolanda McBreairty from Hamden, Maine. I'm a podcaster and reporter for the Maine Source of Truth. I'm Maine's foremost expert on the educational horrors that are inside these indoctrination centers called our public K-12 schools. This will be germane to the bill. I've been thinking, as an oppressed, unemployed, white, middle-aged, Christian, handsome, married, heterosexual man, how can I gain favor from the state of Maine? Well, I figured it was time for me to announce today that I identify as a 100-pound Black lesbian woman who's vaccinated, in a wheelchair, a registered Democrat, and sometimes I just identify as a beaver because I'm a trans species. I also use it as my pronoun because since it's in my email signature, it's got to be true. If you don't call me Yolanda, you'll be a transphobic and you'll be dead naming me, as said by the Maine School Management Association, because it's hate speech. That's how ridiculous Chapter 117 is for Maine parents and taxpayers. This policy in Maine, as we've seen already in use, will expand the powers of school counselors and social workers to keep transgender and sex-related secrets from parents. The results in emotional blackmail, if you don't succumb to the transgender ideological cult inside our schools. LD 394 is already causing emotional, mental, and physical abuse on students, minors, kids, children, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. The executive director for the National Association of Social Workers Maine stated he will always follow the lead of the youth, and it is never his role to out the kid to their parents, even if there are safety issues present. Safety issues, such as the minor student considering killing themselves. This person's in a leadership role with social workers, and he won't let parents know about the mental anguish these kids are going through. The same person said asking questions and being willing to explore things as clinicians, we might have felt a little bit taboo in the past, especially when working with youth. Taboo definition is banned on the grounds of morality or taste. He said sometimes it's easy as watching what Hollywood serves us in depicting queer youth. Watching Hollywood determines your social workers here in Maine. The featured Maine School Counselors Association member of the American School Counselors Association conference said, it's your jobs to parent and support your kids at home, and it's her job to co-parent them and support them in school. That's the best practice, to call a student whatever they want to be called in school, just like I've done today, because as counselors say, sexuality is fluid, and then keep it a secret from parents. The same Maine counselor stated you need to be a trans ally and pushes GLISTEN, a group pushing the gay sexuality alliances, in schools all over Maine. GSAs are creating bullying in schools like we've never seen. This is your lead. Chapter 117 is another beautiful advertisement for homeschooling by Maine Department of Education Commissioner Pender Macon. It's a grift. The biggest taxpayer increase in our Maine history school budgets will be for the mental health of the kids, the problem caused by these very schools. Selling taxpayers the dream to fix the nightmare, the education, the Maine teachers you have cause in school to do so. Follow the money, it gets you to the truth every time. And remember, a lie is a lie even if nobody believes it. The truth is the truth even if no one believes it. Sorry, let me say it over. Remember, a lie is it, and the truth is the truth even if no one believes it. Please vote no on LD 394. Do it for the kids and parents of Maine, because each one of you on this committee owes it to them right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions at this time? Representative Sampson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for being here. So my question for you is, so you gave a couple examples of things that counselors have done. Are those the only two examples that you know of?
No, actually, there is an example here. Let me pull this up from Winslow. So this was citing a Maine Wire story from February 24th. A Winslow High School guidance counselor violated FERPA and the school's policy when she broadcasted the news of a student's gender transition to all staff, a couple hundred people on the list, and at the same time urging her call to keep the news secret from the student's parents. Her name, Leanne Marin, a counselor at the Winslow High School, said in an email to a large number of school staff whose name was redacted, that they wanted to go by a different name and referred to as he, they pronouns. And a quote, they wish this only to be at school as their parents are not there, she said, without specifying where there was. A few hours later, she emailed the group again to retract her previous name change and pronoun instructions. I may have acted too fast without clearly understanding the new policy, she wrote. We met with the student and explained the policy and the rights a little more clearly. At this time, the student has requested that we hold off their notice. Counselors don't even know their own policies in Maine. They don't want to provide transparency to the parents, and they want to keep secrets, and they celebrate kids at school with their sexuality. That is pedophilia. That is a problem. That's sexually grooming. It is horrible to be talking about sex in school. So we have continued to expose a number of these issues on the Maine Source of Truth Rumble page. You can see the counselor that I spoke of, and in his own words, he wants to keep it from parents. It's insane what's going on, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Question, I'm sorry, Representative Millet.
Thank you. Not for but for the work session.
Yes.
I would appreciate if the department could provide some information on the decision to use academic guidance versus what was suggested in the comments around planning and goal setting. And also within the rules, section 4, subsection A, it says not certified by the department, but in subsection 2, section 2, subsection D, and section 3, subsection A, there's mention of certification from the Department of Education. So just for the work session, Mr. Chair, if we could get some clarification from the department on that, that would be great. Thank you.
Clara?
I obviously need to look at this stack of papers that we begin with. So is it? So it sounds like, are you saying that we're asking the parents to pay the taxes to hire the counselors to cut the parents out of the picture? Is that what?
100%. Again, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, the right to teach and basically educate their kids. There should be no involvement from the schools beyond the basics of education, which are being failed right now. Mr. Chair, do you perform at proficiency level in math in Maine?
It's no.
It is. It's germane.
But I'll ask questions. We will ask you questions. It's not a work session.
Okay. Well, it's 24%.
Thank
So this committee needs to understand that only one in 4 students can read math, and only 1 in 3 kids in Maine can read. That's in total school, because so much millions of dollars are going into this woke nonsense instead of the very basics of math, science, and education and reading. And so I would only ask you to kind of try to get to the root cause of the problem. Why are these kids having so much emotional and mental strife? It's because of the nightmare created by the Maine Department of Education and other woke agencies. Thank you.
Other